Hey there, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a foundation review video. I have some foundations that I've been testing out. I don't believe any of them are new. Maybe this one is new, the Dior Youth Skin Perfect Complexion Creator with Sunscreen Broad Spectrum SPF 50. I mean, these names. I'm like, I want to be in the creative meeting where they're like deciding to name the things like, well, we should add this and this and this and this. Oh, don't forget that. Like, no one's going to remember how to say all that. People are just going to be like, it's that perfect creator stuff, you know, by Dior, the one in the squishy cushion foundation thing. That's what people are going to remember. Either way, this, I believe it could be new because I saw it new on the Nordstrom website when I picked it up, but who knows. So that's one of the foundations I'm reviewing. I didn't buy the compact. I bought just the refill, and I didn't realize it at first. I bought it and I was like, oh, it's such a good price for Dior makeup. And then when it arrived, I was like, oh, I realized I bought the refill. But then I was like, oh, it's still fine to use. And yippee, I saved myself like almost another 40 bucks. So that's the one I'm reviewing today. It's the Dior Cushion Foundation. It's their Youth Skincare Perfect Complexion Creator. I also have the Kevyn the Etherealist Skin Illuminating Foundation. And then finally, Gucci Face, it's called Gucci Face, Lustrous Glow Foundation with Sunscreen. So this is, are we getting it here? Kind of? Yeah. Okay, so I have tested all three. They all had a very similar finish somewhat, though there were, some differences between them. Okay, first I'll talk about the Gucci because it's the one I'm wearing today, and the one that really got me very excited when I first tried it. Now it goes on like lustrous glow, and I was like, okay, like what is this going to be like? Is it going to be super dewy, shimmery? I really wasn't sure what to expect. It goes on very natural. I was showing it on my Snapchat the other day. I was putting it on and I was like, oh, it gives kind of like a natural finish. And then about 10 to 15 minutes later, or maybe not even that long, maybe just a few minutes later, I checked back and looked and I was like, whoa, it is already like the glow tends to, looking in my mirror here, trying to like talk through it. The glow seems to develop over time. It's not a shimmery glow, but it definitely has a radiance. So there are some type of like illuminating, light perfecting, probably particles in here that are giving it that glowish look on the skin. Really enjoy it. It does give, I would say, like medium coverage, and it's not like the most hydrating foundation, so I definitely needed to make sure my skin was properly moisturized and hydrated, even though it had that like glowy finish. So if you do have drier skin, do make sure that you're wearing, great moisturizer underneath, but it does give this gorgeous finish. Like it has not a fresh, just had a facial finish. It has more of like that makeup-y highlighter finish on the skin. It looks kind of like you've just been dusted with a glow powder. And throughout the day, it wore quite well. I didn't really see any type of pulling or coming apart, though I did notice that some like fine lines were beginning to show through the foundation because my skin was getting kind of dehydrated throughout the day. So like I said, make sure that you keep yourself, hydrated, or that your skincare underneath is quite moisturizing, because while it does give that glow, it doesn't have kind of a moisturizing aspect to it to give you that fresh facial look that I kind of am used to seeing with radiant glowy foundations. All right, moving on to the Etherealist Skin Illuminating Foundation by Kevyn. Oh, so the Gucci shade, I have it in 30. The 10 was actually too light for me. Who would have thought? And there's a 20, but the 30 really works for me. The Kevyn Skin Illuminating Foundation, I have it in the shade Light. There was another shade that was a little bit too dark for me. This one is not, though it's a skin illuminating foundation, I didn't find it to be as radiant as the Gucci. I found this to be kind of a sheer to medium coverage. I found it to give a very velvet finish. So whereas this has definitely some shine, like I said, it looks like you have a glow powder on over top, this one looks more velvety. So that's not natural, it's not matte, it's not dewy. Velvety kind of, to me, more looks like kind of like a smooth, perfected look. And it just looks, you know, kind of velvety. And so that was the finish I got with this. Again, like with the Gucci, I really needed to use great skincare underneath to really make sure my skin was well hydrated. Because if it didn't, it did pull slightly on some dry patches. But that was just, I find that with a lot of foundations that I really have to make sure my skin is well prepped before it. There's only a handful of foundations that will just work on my skin no matter how it's looking, what kind of skincare I'm using, and that's very few and far between. But I'm okay with that because the velvety finish was very, very beautiful. I really liked, and it just kind of created this nice, flawless canvas. And though throughout the day, I did see some, you know, dehydration on my skin was kind of coming through. So I saw some, it actually wasn't pulling apart, just looked like some dry patches that I had were kind of coming through. So that's just, you know, just good to know. Make sure, like I said, proper hydration underneath. Though the finish was absolutely beautiful, like that velvety finish. It did get a little glowier as the day went on, and I kind of got, you know, my oils, natural oils came out. But the Gucci is definitely more glowy. And this has a much more subtle radiance about it. And then the Dior, it's a cushion foundation, so that's kind of, you know, standard cushion application. And then it has a little sponge, which I don't really use. I tried to use it a little bit to see if I liked it, but I just used like a buffing brush. And with this one, it's very, very sheer at first. So I was like putting it on and I was like, okay, I need a little bit more. Okay, I need a little bit more. And it definitely, you need to build this up. So this is a very subtle, sheer, no makeup look. I mean, my kind of no makeup look, because it still does give some coverage. But after I let it settle a little bit, it did kind of, you know, cover any redness and kind of even out the complexion. And I have in the shade 010, so 10, I guess. And as I pretty much find with all Dior foundations, I love the finish of this. It is much more of a fresh face finish. So if you're looking for that kind of no makeup look, something you can throw on that'll just make your skin look healthy and fresh, not too shiny, not too matte, it's just more of a natural finish. This is really, really beautiful. And I did find it didn't last as long as the other two foundations throughout the day. I did find that like about 5 hours in, it was beginning to kind of, it just didn't look as even in certain areas. So it would not be, for me, it's not a recommendation for like a long wearing foundation. I have some Dior foundations that are long wearing. Those are like, will not come off until I take them off. This is not the case. I find this is, so if you want like a full face of makeup, this is probably not the foundation for you. This is a great weekend foundation. This is a great, like maybe you don't wear a lot of makeup and you just want this, some mascara and some lip gloss, and you're out the door and you're okay with taking the sponge perhaps and just touching up any, you know, spots on the face that may not look as, you know, well covered as it did in the morning. But that being said, I can't, you know, that is a kind of downside to it, but I do think it's really beautiful, and especially if you like Dior foundations, I really think it is a good one. It's not the best I've ever tried from Dior, but I wasn't disappointed enough with it to give it kind of a, no, this is not working, I'm sending it back or anything. I definitely will keep using it. Like I said, I love it as a running errands, on the weekends, or I just don't feel like doing a lot with my makeup, but I still want to have some coverage on my face. So hope you found this helpful. I will go ahead and link all three of these below. And if you have any questions about them or you've used them and you have some feedback, I'd love to hear it. Leave me a comment below and I will talk to you guys soon. Take care. Bye-bye.